This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
It's going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
What's going on, everybody? It's time to talk Monday Night Raw. Took place last night, episode number 2 of the Netflix era in the books. And if you didn't feel like this was a different Raw than last week, I don't know what you're watching, because you went from star-studded kind of a who's who show to, and nothing against Damien Priest or Finn Balor, but Damien Priest and Finn Balor are main eventing the show. Again, I nothing against them, but it's a stark or striking contrast to last week, right? No Rock, no Cena. You had Punk there, so that there was that, and some build to the Rumble. You had Drew there, you had Seth there, but it just felt like a completely different show. It very much felt like they put all their chips last week in the bucket, and they didn't have any to go to this week. I didn't think it was a bad Raw. In fact, if you listen to my Raw review last week, and even my weekend review, I was not kind to the Monday Night Raw narrative last week, where they put brand over everything. The Rock totally dropping the whole final boss gig for Netflix and selling out as Dwayne. Terrible. I actually would prefer this week. I would prefer this week because we actually got wrestling on a wrestling show. It returned to form. I actually am enjoying the quality of Netflix's stream. It's almost like my iPhone got upgraded or something. It's so much clearer than it was on Hulu. So credit to Netflix for doing whatever they need to do, bandwidth-wise, compute power-wise, keeping those computing machines up, whatever it takes to have that stream at such a high, crisp, clean level. And that has, I think, really improved Raw, just because it's so damn clear. It's like Ultra HD or something. It's great. So there's that. But again, it's a stark contrast because of the star power lacking this week. And it very much felt like a let me down show if star power is your thing. If wrestling's your thing and getting back to basic storytelling that last week took off is your thing, then you would have loved this week. And we're going to get into all of it, including a main event that I actually really enjoyed. I really enjoyed Finn Balor and Damien Priest, and it sounded like I kind of slighted them at the beginning of the show, but only in the sense of star power being removed this week. So we're going to talk about all that. We're going to talk about Nia Jax and what the hell she's doing on Raw. I don't know. With Rhea Ripley and Bayley. Maybe, my God, does Bayley have a pulse? Does her career have a pulse? Maybe it does. Liv Morgan and Dominic having issues. I was going to say marital issues, but they're not married. And so all of that. New Women's Intercontinental Champion Lyra Valkyria. We'll get to that match. So a lot to cover tonight as we roll on through Monday Night Raw and get closer to the Royal Rumble, which is 2.5 weeks out. Did I say that? Is it really 2.5? My God. Yeah, it is. See how quickly this all comes. So we've got a lot to discuss tonight, and if you want to continue to listen to all of our ad-free stuff or want to jump on the ad-free train, Spotify has an ad-free option, Apple Podcasts has an ad-free option, and so does Patreon. And Patreon is a great place because it's like a little community where you can join other fans of this show and pro wrestling and get in a Discord server and chat with all the other fans during live events, which is something I know a lot of you love to do. And, we also had the debut of Penta. We'll get to that. As Michael Cole very transparently said that, the worst kept secret. I mean, it really was. It was just horrible. I have to say, I didn't really watch a lot of his work in AEW. And I enjoyed it. And we'll get to that. I think it went a little long, as WWE executives were not happy how long that segment went with the debut of Penta. We also had Sami Zayn in action, and we'll talk about that too. So let's get into it. Let's just jump in from the beginning of Monday Night Raw. And we had CM Punk, who came out. A camera followed him from the car to the ring. Just perfectly timed. I mean, of course, Punk has been there presumably for 6 hours. If not, I mean, that's a bad job on his part for him to be, just showing up at the nick of time. I mean, where would they have gone with their cameras otherwise? What if that wasn't CM Punk in the vehicle? What if it was one of the production crew? Would they have followed them to the ring? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm taking logic to the extreme here, but I guess when they break the fourth wall every 2 minutes and remind us what we're watching is fake for all intents and purposes. I hate using that word, but that's what they don't even care if you use that anymore. You think logically, and when you think logically, it takes you out of the moment. So I'm going to not do that. Let's continue. Or at least continue to do that. Okay, so Punk got on the commentary table, and someone handed him a mic. The crowd chanted CM Punk. He told the San Jose crowd that he loved them. Of course he does. And Punk shouted out to all the people fighting the California wildfires. Obviously a big deal over there. Big deal, and I'm not going to get into the politics of it or whatever. It's just, it's pretty bad. I mean, celebrity homes or no celebrity homes, it's crazy what's happening over there. Historic fire. Some of it probably is arson. Some of it probably happened naturally, but whatever the case, I mean, the result is the same. Destruction, lives ruined. I mean, we've had 25 people die. It's crazy. So anyway, I have no problem with Punk doing that. And then he asked the crowd if they watched last week as he beat Seth Rollins. And he said he has a lot on his plate. But one of the things not on his plate anymore is Seth Rollins. He recalled last year that he tore his tricep during the Rumble from the bone, and said he could see his career fade away and he's not seeing something while doing the John Cena thing. The crowd was like, oh, right. They're very interested. They said basically like, oh my God, he's mentioning John Cena by name here. And then Punk spoke directly to Cena and said he sees him and always has. He said, much like Cena did last week, Punk is officially declaring himself for the Royal Rumble. And then Punk was trying to get his music to play, but Seth Rollins' music hits. And we had the crowd, continue to somehow still sing Seth Rollins' music. But he took off his sunglasses, no soul to sing along, which is notable. He looked angry. He also had a black eye. And Rollins said Punk shouldn't be surprised to see him because he said win, lose, or draw, he'd still be standing there. And Rollins said he was a man of his word, and Punk wasn't. Rollins said he'd rather be the worst version of himself than any version of CM Punk. And Rollins said last week was the worst loss of his career, and he was disappointed in himself because he underestimated Punk, and the only thing he could do for his redemption is to take Punk's Mania dreams and flush them down the toilet. And Rollins said he will dump Punk's ass over the top rope, as he declared himself for the Rumble, on his way to WrestleMania, and said that he would be taking the easy way out by eliminating him at the Rumble. Drew comes out, Drew McIntyre, and it's just, I love seeing him. God, it's great. And Drew McIntyre said he wasn't talking to Punk. He was going to talk to Rollins. Seth Rollins responded by saying he'd stomp Drew's head in because Punk reminded McIntyre how he beat him within an inch of his life. But McIntyre said Punk and Rollins are a lot alike, and the only difference is that one of them knows how much of a piece of crap he is. McIntyre said Rollins is nothing but an act and called him out for having a selfish agenda for not interviewing or intervening in the Bloodline saga recently, and McIntyre called Rollins pathetic. I love McIntyre. I don't know how people are. I think that he's going to get so damn entertaining that people are going to start cheering him. I could be wrong. He's got a pretty good hook into the crowd right now as a heel. Pretty solid platform as a heel. I don't really see any signs yet of the crowd turning, and I'm not advocating for it yet, but I could see a scenario where the crowd is just so entertained by everything he says, and he is a truth-telling machine, that they start to actually cheer him. Again, I'm not advocating for that right now, but he's that good right now. I mean, McIntyre is at the peak of his career. I would argue even in a better spot than he was as a babyface WWE champion in some ways. So, all right. Well, continuing on, we got Rollins trying to respond. Punk cut Rollins off and said if anyone wanted to swing, he'd fight them, and Rollins hopped on that train. McIntyre asked if they wanted to Punk Rollins McIntyre in San Jose, teasing walking to the ring before saying no, and said Roman Reigns is playing chess while every other idiot is playing checkers. From there, it didn't take long before McIntyre also declared himself at the Rumble. So now, all three of these men in the Rumble. Big Royal Rumble, guys. Run off the top. We've got some incredible names. Drew McIntyre, Seth Rollins, CM Punk, Roman Reigns, John Cena. Rumor is Rock, right? So we got 5 and maybe 6 big names. The Rock is, floating out there as a possibility. We'll see exactly what happens there. But right now we have at least 5 confirmed. All right. So we then have Chad Gable come out. Well, let me pause there. CM Punk made a cardinal sin. I want to point it out. CM Punk spoke a cardinal sin. He said he's going to throw 29 other men over the top rope. I'll continue to say it because every year it's tradition for me. Can we drop the whole idea that you beat 29 other men or that you're going to throw 29 other men over the top rope? No one has ever done that. No winner has ever done that. No one has even come close to doing that as the winner. You also have to consider your position. You come in at number 1 and you throw everybody out, then you have done exactly what you said you were going to do. You come in at number 28 and there's only 6 guys left in the ring and you eliminate 3 of them to win the Rumble. You beat 3 other guys. You threw 3 men over the top rope to win the Royal Rumble. You outlasted. How about we change the verbiage to outlasted? How about we say that instead? You outlasted 29 other men. That's much more accurate. It gets in my skin every time I hear it, and now CM Punk has done the same. Okay. So you also do wonder what the favor is for Punk from Paul Heyman. You do wonder what that's going to be. I think in the next couple of months we'll see that revealed as we get towards the Rumble or just past the Rumble of what that favor is. All right. Then the first wrestling match of the night. We got Chad Gable coming out and Penta. All right. There was footage of a girl in the front row crying at Penta's presence. And that was just, wow. I mean, are people that connected to Penta? I don't know. I mean, San Jose, you're closer to Mexico than a lot of cities that they visit. Maybe there is that crowd that that support you normally wouldn't get anywhere else, like Columbus, Ohio, or something. I don't know, but someone's crying. Sorry, I don't get it. But a good match here, a good match. The crowd chanted "Holy yes!" 13.5-minute match. Now, the finish was clean. And, of course, Michael Cole went into his typical, and Penta has arrived, as the 3 counts going down, which means as he goes into his closing phrase, the match is over. The match is almost never over when we have Cole say 1, 2, 3, or, he just goes into his phrase knowing it's the finish. And it ruins the whole count. It ruins the suspense. It ruins the potential kick out. Cole, love you, bro. Please stop it. You'll notice he does this with every especially bigger matches, debuts, when he knows clearly the finish or he's been around the business so long, he kind of, even if he doesn't know the finish per se, he knows who's going to win. And he knows that, it's, they got the signal to go home or whatever. He can tell it's the end. He ruins it every time. Stop it, Cole. Stop it. You go into your closing phrase that you want to say right as that 3 count hits. How about you just let us experience the 3 count without you going into some closing phrase? Please. Cole, I really enjoy your work, but that's such a deal breaker for me. Okay, so here's the finish of Penta and Chad Gable. Penta hits a crossbody from the top, kicks Gable, follows it up with a backstabber for a 2 count. He riled up the crowd, Penta that is, kicked the hell out of Gable, who popped up and landed a German suplex for a near fall. He then chopped the hell out of Gable and went for another, but Gable worked an arm bar over the top rope. Penta comes back in with a head scissors and what Cole and McAfee called a Mexican destroyer that led to a great near fall. This is awesome chance broke out. Gable comes back with a dragon screw, leg whip, and sank in an ankle lock, and Penta countered with what they're calling the sacrifice, which is an arm breaker, before Penta landed a Penta driver for the win, which is kind of like a Michinoku driver, except kind of like it's like a safe package pile driver, I don't know, without the person landing on their head. It's a nice looking move. And after the match, Jackie Redmond comes in to interview Penta, who took the microphone and was yelling, "Thank you, San Jose," and said WWE is his new home, and the crowd cheered. He said he knew everyone was waiting for this moment, but the truth is it was Penta who has been waiting for this moment. And the crowd, he spoke in Spanish, and the crowd loved it. Obviously, the location, geography of Monday Night Raw really helped here for him. So, okay. I thought it was fine. Not just fine, actually, really good match. I shouldn't say fine. That was not the right adjective. Really good match. I enjoyed this. I hope that we could see this again. Yes, it was a really poorly kept secret that Penta was going to be the one to challenge Gable. It's been known for several weeks that Penta was on his way to WWE, and he's here, and yes, he's going to be compared to Rey Mysterio. Is this another kind of Rey Mysterio wannabe? I mean, it's difficult to ever compare Rey Mysterio to anyone else. But it's also unfair to compare him to anyone else. And we've seen Ultimo Dragon fail in WWE, at least when compared to Rey Mysterio. And that's kind of the shadow that will forever linger over any luchador that makes their way into WWE. They will forever be compared to Rey Mysterio. For better or worse. I mean, it's just how it is. And you've seen a lot of them come and go over the years, and they look like it's just kind of a wish version of a knockoff version, a bootleg version of Rey Mysterio. If you feel like you're getting a cheap version of Rey Mysterio when you see a lot of these luchadors. And I hope Penta's able to continue to make his own identity, which, I mean, he started a great start on Monday night here. But that's the challenge, is Rey Mysterio, because he was so good, so legendary, and such a mainstay in the company. Difficult to shake that. Really is. Liv Morgan and Dominic backstage. Dom had a bunch of flowers for Liv after Liv lost the championship last week, and he felt partly responsible for it. Liv was playing coy that no, I'm not angry, Dom. And she takes the flowers, gives them Carlito, says to do something with them, and tells Dom basically, go get the rental car, go get my bag, and be just totally de-masculine, just taking the masculinity away from Dom, whatever masculinity there was left of him, but totally emasculating him in a very kind of passive-aggressive way. All right. So we have Braun Breaker sitting in the crowd. Why? Can this not be Bayley was in the crowd? Can we not have the wrestlers in the crowd? Because they're only going to show up a little bit before the segment that they're supposed to interfere with, yet we're supposed to believe it's also we're supposed to believe it's a spontaneous show. I don't want to be tipped off when I see somebody in the crowd and go, oh, well, their angle's next. Oh, well, they'll be involved somehow. Can we take them out of the crowd? They're not one of us. I don't want them to be. I want them to be wrestlers. Keep them on the other side of the barricade. I don't like it. This is to me a bad decision by Triple H and company. So anyway, Sheamus and Ludwig Kaiser. Sheamus beats Kaiser in just about 9 minutes. And the finish was Kaiser. Sheamus hitting Kaiser with a running knee for a near fall. Sheamus gets up, for a bro kick. Kaiser chops Sheamus instead. And then Ludwig goes for another chop, but Sheamus hit him with a knee, and then Kaiser responded with a rolling senton. Kaiser then teased a kick, but then instead ran into a brogue 1, 2, 3. After the match, as I said, Sheamus goes to ringside, celebrates with McAfee, but Braun Breaker had words for him on the outside. Officials broke it up, and yeah, so we're getting Sheamus and Braun Breaker at some point. All right. Kathy Kelly catches up with Seth Rollins, who's walking backstage, and it turns out next week it will be Drew versus Seth. Seth said he owed Drew for WrestleMania, so next week should be fun. Rollins then ran into Sami Zayn, who told Rollins if he needed anyone to talk to, Zayn was there for him. Rollins said last week was rough for him, but it was a great week for Zayn because Roman Reigns is tribal chief again. Rollins asked if Zayn was going to help Reigns. Rollins asked Zayn if he was going to help Roman win the Royal Rumble and then the Undisputed WWE Championship. And Rollins also asked Zayn if he would keep helping Reigns or if Zayn would start helping himself. Very subtle turn, seeds for a heel turn. Nothing definitive. Nothing that would say, oh, here we go. Wheels are in motion. It's a slow churn here if what they're trying to do is turn Seth heel, because he's trying to get everyone away from Roman. Stop helping Roman. Seth was true to his word. He did not help Roman in the the Survivor Series War Games match. I like that consistency in his character. That was good. I'm glad he didn't help. Sami Zayn, on the other hand, has come back to Roman Reigns. Even though he's kind of still doing his own thing, their OG bloodline is loosely still together. So the Royal Rumble is going to be very interesting in how all of the members of the bloodline interact. Does someone try to help Roman and then stop him? And then does Zayn help Roman and then Rollins turns on Zayn? Although it's impossible to really turn on somebody in that match, given it's every man for themselves and we have tag teams turn on each other and then they're fine the next night because they know it's on the line. So the dynamic of all of the men in the Rumble, you're going to have moments of the OG bloodline dominating, maybe Solo's bloodline dominating, and then who's going to turn on who? Does Jimmy try to throw Roman out? I mean, I don't need another OG bloodline civil war. I'm not asking for that at all. But imagine if the OG bloodline is there when The Rock comes out, right? Even just a couple members. And then The Rock comes out as number 30 or 31 or something. And they're all standing there. What do they do? Right? What do they do? It's going to be a fun Rumble. Okay. So, a good match here with Sheamus and Kaiser. Sheamus or Kaiser still cannot get that big win. We keep hearing about it. We keep seeing him depressed backstage. We keep seeing Gunther trying to raise him up and say, you can do this and you don't need my help. And that's all great. But Kaiser has yet to really string any kind of significant victories together. You'll get sporadic victories that don't carry a lot of weight. And then he'll go on long losing streaks. And he's on one of those long, infamous losing streaks right now. So, okay. Miz and Karrion Kross were talking backstage, and Kross found out that the Wyatt Six had been moved to SmackDown. Zayn walks in, and Kross told Zayn he heard the conversation with Rollins and found it interesting. Miz said if they were talking world titles, they didn't need to worry about Zayn, and Miz said he's been world champion twice, which is 2 more times than Zayn could ever hope for. And Zayn said he was heading to the lobby for a match between him and Miz tonight. Then we get Gunther coming out and said he followed last week's debut on Netflix closely and was not impressed with the performances in the ring. Gunther said he wished he had a roster that could fill high expectations, and Gunther said everyone is fighting over personal drama. Who is the head of the table? Who's the best in the world? And Gunther followed up by saying, who cares? I love it. Gunther just brings you back to pro wrestling. That's what he does. He grounds us. He takes all the drama and all the entertainment aspects and larger-than-life stuff, and he just pummels it in a way that's refreshing. It's like, you know what? Yeah. This dude is just all business. He's an all-business champion that is very believable. Gunther is he's a palate cleanser of the company right now. He is the in-house palate cleanser. I'm loving nearly everything Gunther has done, other than show fear to Damien Priest. That was a big misstep in their storytelling, but good stuff here. Gunther put over his world title as the most important in the company and was cut off by Jey Uso, who again, he did beat Drew McIntyre last week, so him earning a shot here at the World Championship is, there's some merit for that. There's a justification for that. So Uso asked Gunther if he heard him say he was looking for someone to care about the WWE World Championship, and said that Gunther was looking at him. He challenged Gunther for the world title at Saturday night's main event. And Gunther laughed and smiled and asked if Jey was serious. Gunther said that Uso was courageous it was courageous to challenge him, but he would be naive to think he'd be the guy to take the title off of him. And he reminded Uso that he beat him up twice and said what Jey is capable of is a lot less than what Gunther is capable of. And when the bell rings, he'll expose Jey for what he really is, a really, really talented tag team wrestler. And Gunther said that Jey is not on his level, and to the main event. Jey said the nickname of main event is not just a nickname; it's where he belongs. And he told everyone to yeet, so everyone yeeted. I have to say I didn't think it'd be Gunther versus Jey, but you do have the Saturday night main event. That is a quasi PLE / glorified televised Raw / SmackDown. It's like a super show, is what it is. It's on the cusp of being a PLE. You want to label it a PLE, you don't, whatever. So, is the belt in question? Of course not. Is Gunther going to walk into WrestleMania as champion? Of course he is. And you have to understand that there's just no chance now. I mean, the champions are pretty much locked in between now and WrestleMania. Pretty much. You could pretty much take it to the bank that whoever's holding the championships right now, the top ones, are going to be the ones that they want walking into WrestleMania defending those championships. From Rhea to Tiffany Stratton to Cody Rhodes and, of course, Gunther. The rest, Lyra Valkyria, she might do it because she's the inaugural, but you can bet your bottom dollar that they're going to be doing some kind of multi-woman fatal 5-way elimination or something like that for the Intercontinental title, and maybe the counterpart of that match on SmackDown for the U.S. title. But my point is, Gunther and Jey is a match that we've seen before. We've seen Jey get beat up by Gunther, so Gunther does have an advantage here. But it's like a 99.99999% that Gunther's going to remain champion. I can't imagine the company bringing Jey Uso into the fold to face anyone defending the World Championship or WrestleMania. I just can't. They did too much groundwork setting up Gunther for being in the position he's at now to headline a WrestleMania with a very formidable opponent. Is it Logan Paul? I don't know. I mean, I would think not Logan Paul, given you have a heel-heel match, and that's not a good idea, just generally speaking, especially for a main event of WrestleMania. So it probably won't be Logan Paul. But that said, Jey Uso makes almost no sense. Not to say he can't be world champion or shouldn't be world champion, but you have to look at the time of year we're in. You have to look at the calendar. The calendar says WrestleMania now. The focus is going to shift. Yes, the Rumble, but by proxy, WrestleMania. I mean, like, that's what the Royal Rumble matches are for, are to determine the main events for WrestleMania. So, all right, good stuff here. I mean, again, it was a bit of a surprise. Jey also he's not the greatest at promos. He's got a lot of energy, which does cover for a lot of the content of his promos. But if you were ever to get some subtext, get some captions for what the actual words that Jey is saying on paper are, and you were to just read them as actual sentences here, and maybe I'll do that sometime. I'll just read what they say and take the energy out of it. You realize how much that energy and catchphrases matter in a Jey Uso promo. Because you're just like, it doesn't even matter what he's saying. You catch a couple big key words, buzzwords here and there, like yeet and main event's not just a nickname, and you're just like, yeah, like, but the in-between stuff, his character is not very eloquent when it comes to word selection, but it doesn't need to be. It'd just be funny to take the transcript of what he actually says and read it verbatim. I'm going to start maybe doing that with some promos. All right. Dakota Kai versus Lyra Valkyria in the finals of the Women's Intercontinental Championship here. This match, 8.5 minutes. Lyra Valkyria beats Dakota Kai to become the first ever Women's IC champion. And we had Lyra celebrate. Fireworks go off. Dakota Kai ends up shaking the hand of Lyra. You were wondering if there was going to be a turn there, some kind of shenanigans where Dakota decides, screw this, I'm a sore loser. Didn't get it. We didn't get it. We got just a straight up mono-y-mono or womano-womano. I don't know. It's late, guys. Matchup where there's nothing that could, potentially spoil the match and take any credibility away from Lyra. So she's the first one. In a match I thought it was very good for as women's matches go. I thought they did a very nice job. And Lyra's your new champion. Now, what happens here? I still think Liv Morgan can be a big challenger down the road, meaning, towards WrestleMania. Was the match a little bit short for a championship match for the women? Yeah, maybe Penta's longer than expected debut had something to do with that. Okay, Sami Zayn and The Miz. We got Sami Zayn beating The Miz in 4 minutes via pinfall after a Blue Thunder Bomb put him out. See, I like that. Sami heeded my advice. Is the Blue Thunder Bomb a finish maneuver for Sami? Traditionally, it's not. But it's nice to see that moves that you just take as transition moves can sometimes end a match. So I like this. Okay. Rhea Ripley comes out and screamed, "Mommy's back on top," and reminded everyone she's the women's champion. They didn't let her talk long, which is a bit disappointing. I mean, she went through this long journey of winning the women's championship, getting injured, having to relinquish it, having her man, her group, and her championship stolen by Liv Morgan. She, is trying to capture it back from Liv for months and months since August. She finally does, and all we get out of her are like 2 sentences. Disappointing. I would have loved a little. Now, again, we can't blame this all on Penta, because Liv Morgan, or rather Rhea Ripley's promo here, I think, just really under-delivered in terms of content and time. You want some kind of victory speech. You want some kind of finality to what her journey has been up until winning here. And all we got is, "Mommy's back on top." Okay, you've said that for like a year and a half now. Anything else? Okay. So Nia Jax comes out and said she can't take it anymore. And Jax said via the transfer window she couldn't help herself because she wanted to talk to mommy. So she's saying the transfer window, but do we have a... Okay, I said I don't know why the hell Jax is here earlier in the show, but we don't have an actual date of the transfer window being closed. And also, the transfer window doesn't mean that you can just kind of willy-nilly go on each show. Doesn't it mean it's just you can trade people during this window? Like, I don't understand. Transfer means one for the other. It doesn't mean open season, or open house, rather. All right, I'm getting too technical, I guess. Boring you guys. Let's keep going. So, Jax said, she's there because of the transfer window. And she came out to let Ripley know that she is declaring herself for the Royal Rumble, and she'll make or take whatever title she wants. And Jax pointed out Bayley in the crowd again, conveniently there. And Jax said Bayley would be from this poor, dumb, nasty town. Yeah, okay. Maybe that's why Bayley's career has a pulse, is because she's in her hometown. I had forgotten that, but Jax said the only woman there was her, and she's at the top of the women's division. Jax said it wasn't Ripley, Tiffy, or Bayley. And Bayley grabbed a mic and said, it might not be her show, but it is her city. And Bayley called Jax a big old dumb idiot. You know, I've heard better insults on a second grade playground. Sorry, Bayley. I mean, you know, is she going to be a dork next? You know, a big jerk? Is Bayley going to go wild and call Nia Jax a big jerk next week? I mean, they're going to have to bleep that out. So Jax shoved Bayley into the ground, and Jax shoved Bayley, and we got a headbutt from Ripley. And we then had Bayley and Ripley team up spontaneously to take out Jax to end the segment. So next week, Cole announced JBL will be in the house, and the New Day will also be in action. And Rollins versus McIntyre is also going to be going down next week. Whatever JBL is doing there, man, I don't know. I'm not sure what JBL is doing there. New Day in action should be interesting. They took a bit of a pause on that this week, presumably building to a potential Big E debut in the Rumble. Potential. I've been saying that for a while, but that would be a perfect place for Big E to return and eliminate both men. All right. Also the declaration for the Rumble, have to mention it. I don't understand it. If it's first come, first serve, then everyone out at all time, like, wouldn't everyone be screaming, I declare myself for the Rumble? No, I said it first. You said it first, right? There's no other match which you just, as a superstar, as a wrestler, you just declare yourself a part of. Especially a matchup this prestigious, a matchup that has ultimate stakes on the line, main eventing WrestleMania, and you just get to declare yourself. Well, why isn't everyone else declaring themselves part of the Rumble? If all you have to do is just declare it. I make this comparison every year, but it's worth repeating. It is the same thing, if you're an Office fan, of Michael Scott declaring bankruptcy. And he's in a bit of financial trouble with his lover, Jan, and she's taking all his money and staying at home. And, you know, basically he runs out of money, and he's in the office screaming, you know, I declare bankruptcy. And then somebody's like, you can't just declare bankruptcy. That doesn't mean you say it out loud, and that's not how it works. Same thing here. It's the equivalent of Michael Scott declaring bankruptcy. Makes no sense. All right. So continuing, Finn Balor, Damien Priest here in a street fight. Really physical match, good match. Coup de grace through the table. The Damien Priest beating up Finn Balor, when he was on the stretcher and rolling him back to the ring. Just a very good, it's just a good street fight. It's what you expect from a street fight. You have just tables galore and screaming at each other during the during the actual match. And I do wonder if this is it between the two. I think it is. They're trying to really put some stuff to bed that has been festering since summer. And Finn Balor and Damien Priest have been, they've been at each other's throats for a while now. With Finn originally, if you remember, costing Damien Priest the world championship, if you remember, against Gunther. So, and before that there was tension, and it went back to Finn saying that it was all about you, it was never about the group, and it's been a very well told story generally speaking, and it's time for it to pay off, and it did. And I think that it's time for these two to move on, just like Liv and Rhea Ripley need to move on, and that seemingly they have for now. So a good Raw, physical Raw. Yes, video packages. Yes, you had the billboards, billboard ring canvas, which did it seem like this week? Maybe I'm totally misremembering from last week. They placed the ads on the corners of the ring instead of all over the center of the ring. You have Netflix as part of the black canvas, but the rest of them, Snickers and Cricket Wireless or whoever their sponsors are, it's around the edges of the ring on the canvas, not in the center. So I'm pretty sure that last week it was just splattered all over and it was horrible. It was just, again, watching a billboard for 3 hours. No fun. But the production value has been increased. I mean, this is a well-run show, a well-oiled machine with a lot of moving parts, and I give everyone credit for putting this show together 3 hours every single week. It's a monster of a project. Despite the fact of my many criticisms of the show, I still, I'm a wrestling fan, for life. It's not going to ever change. I mean, there's really not much they can do at this point to kick me out of the genre, but that'll do it, everybody, for my the Monday Night Raw review. Little nuggets there that I'm sure I missed, but you guys will fill it in for me, I am sure. If you want to contribute to the mailbag, give me your thoughts on this week in WWE and Raw and NXT, whatever. Mailbag at WWEpodcast.com is the place to go, where you can send all of your emails to me, and we'll get them read on the air every single Friday for our mailbag. There's also a phone number you can call and leave a voicemail. That number is in the description notes of all of our shows that we do for all the mailbags. You can see it right there. So, all right, everybody. 40 plus minutes is about where I usually stop, right? So I hope everybody's staying warm. If you're, freezing your ass off, it's winter. We're longing for the days of summer and warm weather, aren't we? Even if you're in Florida, I mean, it's cold. Even if you're in Florida, northern Florida especially, and next week here in the United States looks brutally cold. Brutally cold. So everyone needs to get in their cars and run that CO2. Just let your car sit and idle. Everyone needs to collectively just let your car sit and idle so that the greenhouse gases can warm the earth next week, and maybe it'll mitigate some of that cold weather, So, all right. Thanks, everybody, for listening. If you want to give us a 5-star rating, I'd appreciate it. If you don't, you're going to be obligated to anyway. And then you can give us a shout out on Patreon and join us there and go ad-free everywhere that this podcast is available. So thanks, everybody, and I'll talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.